Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Pizza Story podcast. Today I have Alex here from Yukon Pizza. Hey Alex, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm good. Thanks for being on the podcast.
Yeah, this is super exciting. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. So I see you guys are out in Las Vegas.
Yes, we are currently going through our little heat wave right now, but it's our little spot in the desert.
Yeah, we're having our Tampa heat wave too for the entire summer.
And that's no fun with the humidity. I'm not envious of it at all for that.
Yeah, no, it's very hot here. It's like you don't want to go outside right now.
AC is our friend for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's get into your story. I want to hear about how you got into pizza.
It's a long story that kind of starts in two different parts. So our pizza is a sourdough-based pizzeria, and it's an heirloom sourdough starter that I've had in my family for, at this point, 128 plus years.
Wow.
And so that story is the first start of the whole thing, and then where I come in is a lot later on, obviously. So my great great grandpa worked or ran. The story's a little fuzzy when it's this old, but a general store in the Yukon Territory during the Klondike Gold Rush in the late 1800s, early 1900s.
Hmm.
And so at a general store, mercantile, whatever, you sell all kinds of goods for camps, including food. Sourdough was part of that food storage that you buy for your camp. So from there, my great great grandpa Gilbert finished his mining time in the Yukon and went down to Acreage, which is not very far. That's where his journey ended, but it kind of kept going with my great grandpa, who took that sourdough and moved to Seattle and ran a construction company there in the early 1900s.
Hmm.
So my grandpa has memories of my great grandpa making, sourdough and doing biscuits and pancakes. And then my dad has memories of his grandpa making pancakes and sourdough biscuits and bread and stuff like that. And so it traveled from Seattle down to Southern California, where my grandparents ended up living in a small town called Trona, California. My parents both lived there, high school sweethearts. So when we were growing up as kids, every Sunday was dad's like sourdough pancake Sunday. Mom would make biscuits sometimes or bread. The sourdough was always just a thing that we had on the counter. It was always there. We always had to make sure we fed it, every now and then. And it wasn't really kind of like a thing, or you didn't think about it until you really get out into the world. I grew up in a really small town in Washington State for my younger childhood.
Hmm.
So when we got into the bigger cities, getting a little older, going over to friends' houses and seeing how the people live and eat, you realize that having a little sourdough culture is pretty unique. So when I left for college, my dad handed me a mason jar of, part of the culture. He's like, all right, here's your portion. You can keep it, maintain it, and do whatever you want with it.
Wow.
And, it's like every part of the family had some. I mean, my uncle and all the cousins have some. Ostensibly, everyone's got a little bit somewhere or should, but I kept mine going. In college, it really wasn't a focus of becoming a pizza maker or learning how to make pizza or anything like that. Really early on, I was throwing up parties in my apartment and having like build your own pizza parties and like throwing a bunch of stuff on a really badly made dough and getting it into an oven and making a really soupy, watery pie.
Sure.
The parties were like to meet friends and drink beer and more college things.
Yeah.
But at a certain point in Las Vegas, a restaurant opened up called Seta Bello. There are a couple restaurants across the Southwest that do a very traditional Neapolitan-style, ABPN-style pizzeria. And I went and tried it, and it was very much a light bulb moment of like, this is different than any other kind of pizza I've ever really tried or really kind of sought out. And I really got obsessed and fascinated with the wood fire aspect of it. So starting in probably 2009, I really kind of delved into the world of like home pizza making, but also trying to use my sourdough. And you can imagine in 2009, YouTube was only like a year or two old. So this time, they're like online resources for stuff like this were non-existent. This wasn't
Yeah.
like boom of home pizza making like it's been for the last 5 or 6 years. So it was really hard to track down people who had successfully made good pizzas with their sourdough in their home, and then also the method to do that. So there's every angle of pizza making required to do a good pizza. You got to drill down on the dough, the tomatoes, the cheese, but not only that, the oven, storing everything, all the stuff.
Hmm.
Kind of got crazy obsessed to figure out how to. I was reading Jeff Ferrasano's recipes on clipping my oven so I could turn on the heating cycle or the cleaning cycle, and Then I started building Franken ovens on my apartment patio. I started buying kits off of places out in Italy that would ship them to my door. And so eventually I had a little menagerie of janky ovens. And I found this one brand that worked really well for doing little portable things. So it was a little portable wood-fired oven that I found that was perfect for my little home setup.
Yeah.
And I just spent like years doing it as a passion project on the side. I worked a completely different kind of job other than being a pizza maker.
Wow.
I was a freelancer in the film and TV industry, so it let me have free time and a little bit of like disposable income to put a little money into buying a little oven or going to buy a fancy flour, finding a fancier flour, and really kind of like knuckleheading my way through learning how to make dough at home, making it really work well with the situation I had in my apartments. It was a long few years of like I would throw a party every 3 or 4 months and invite my friends over and try out something new and see if it was working. A lot of guinea pig status for a long time. So I really kind of got into these parties where I would go out into the edge of Las Vegas and there's a bunch of open land on the edges of town that you can oversee the whole strip and everything. It's really beautiful.
Yeah.
So I called them, I didn't know this at the time, it was going to be so doomsday, but I called them end of the world parties because you're out in the middle of nowhere. I'd set up the oven, I'd have a bunch of wine in a cooler, and I'd hit up all my friends and be like, here's where I'm at. Show up, we'd make pizzas and drink wine, watch the sunset. It was a really good time.
Wow.
And I started getting inquiries for like doing wedding caterings for like small weddings and backyard parties. So it was like, became like passion project turns very, very, very small side business. I formally organized Yukon Pizza in 2017.
Mm-hmm.
But that was the first couple of years where like I was doing like 3 jobs a year where I was catering like a 10-person wedding. And it was just a really offshoot kind of thing.
Yeah.
And my brother and I had been kind of kicking around the idea of like one day if we retire from the business, like maybe we could open a restaurant together. Like one day it'd be kind of fun. There's a lot of pie in the sky dreaming when you don't really know what you're talking about.
Sure.
But then March of 2020 happened and a lot of things really stopped happening, including our industry and our jobs. And so we kind of, in lockdown. My wife or girlfriend at the time, but now wife and I were living together and what do? We just started making pizzas in the backyard. And then one, like maybe 2 or 3 weeks in, we were like, there's a lot of people out there sitting at home just like us. What if we figured out a way to like hit up our friends, have them pull up in front of the house. We run out of pizza to the back of their car and drop it off in the trunk. And then we can feed some people that we got all this pizza stuff for,
Nice.
So once a week, my wife and I would, very furiously make like 12 pizzas over like 2 hours for 6 of our friends. And then over every weekend, we kind of got a little bit better and a little bit faster. And more friends started hitting us up. And then on Instagram, it kind of got out that we were doing this thing. So we started getting just random people hitting us up. So eventually we were running Friday and Saturday night, like 50 pizzas a night out of our backyard.
Wow.
Excel spreadsheet, a whole like texting system. We had 3 or 4 people at that time, like my brother, my wife now, we had a chef guy working with us. It was just us 4 people furiously making pizzas, sweating it out in the middle of the summer, masks on, trying to be very safe, but, feeding our community, feeding our neighborhood. Like we had people driving from the farthest edges of Las Vegas to come get a pizza. And they were saying it was like their one day a week they'd come out to get something to do, like just get in the car, go get a pizza. They'd pull down the end of our street, stop, and then eat the whole pie in the car and then go home.
Wow.
So, and we have customers that are still that come to our restaurant that are part of our very first pop-up.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible. So then take me through to doing, all of these different pop-ups and catering and making pizza furiously to now you're like a brick and mortar.
So that was, again, the pandemic was a time of definitely a lot of highs and a lot of lows, but one of the highs was being able to meet a lot of great people in our community through the pizza scene and the food and hospitality scene here in Las Vegas, which is really incredible. We're really lucky to have a town that's got such a diverse and incredibly high quality food scene. So I got introduced to a gal named Jolene Menina here. She's a local restaurateur and tastemaker and is the ultimate connector of all people and all things. And she had worked on a concept called the Vegas Test Kitchen, which was a shared kitchen concept with a single dining room, but would house like 4 or 5 chef concepts. And it would be a pandemic friendly operation where we could all operate. We all could sell our food. She found a POS platform that allowed for multiple businesses with a single tab kind of thing. It was a really cool idea. So she's like, saw you guys on Instagram. I got told by friends that you were great. But to have you inside the test kitchen. They're like, awesome. Do you want to try the pizza? She's like, I'll try the pizza, but I want you inside the test kitchen.
Wow.
She's like, I have some friends who like really like what you did, and if they said that your pizza's good, I'm not worried about that. I want to give you guys a space to like grow your business. It's an
Nice.
incubator spot, like that's where it was like, all right, the next step of how do we grow from backyard to professional kitchen was now this way. Jolene came in and gave us that perfect opportunity of like, here it is. Here's a kitchen you can share. The overhead is extremely low because we're sharing rent with like 5 different people.
Mm-hmm.
We're able to make money. We're able to hire 1 or 2 extra staff. So we were there for almost 2 years, probably 20 months.
Mm-hmm.
And in that time, we were able to like grow our operations, grow our menu, get our team set, really learn top to bottom restaurant touring, kind of with training wheels on.
Yeah.
Coming from the film and TV world, we had a lot of experience in production and producing large scale things. Like a lot of stuff translated, thankfully. Long days, being on my feet, challenges left and right. These are things that are like really common on film sets as well. So it came naturally for us to deal with it, though. Is also a lot of learning and a lot of headaches. And my wife used to work for the Clark County government here in the Parks and Rec department, so she has a really good handle on speaking bureaucrat and cutting through red tape and being our like inside government person who can go talk to the right people because she knows who to go see. So we had all these, we had the team and the angles, and my brother is a really meticulous computer like administration guy. Well, I could focus on doing pizza, so it was awesome that I had the family that came around me to help build this thing and create a little bigger enterprise than just our backyard operation. And at the test kitchen, then came along a developer who liked what we were doing. And he's like, I've got a building just down the road that I'm developing. And there's a space or two I want to show you. And if you're interested, I want to offer you a deal where I'll build out the restaurant to your design. You sign a 10-year lease. So it was like kind of like stumbling into dream after dream situation, right? And, for being first time owner operators and in the industry and all that, it's like we were trying to be very cautious and be very aware of like the volatility and the failure rate of first-time restaurants and the market, and especially coming out of pandemic, there's a lot of things that were involved risk-wise. So we took we always called it the slow boat approach. We really took our time, took a lot of meetings, really made sure that moving in this path was going to be the best option for not only for success for us, but also for the people we'd already hired and brought on board. It's one thing when it's just my wife, my brother, or chef, but when it's like when you have employees, you really start thinking in bigger scales and bigger pictures and longer terms, as far as we don't want to be a flash in the pan restaurant. I don't want to be a influencer foodie hotspot for 6 months and then die. We wanted to be a neighborhood pizzeria that sits there for a long time and becomes our local spot for our families to come to and eat and drink and have a good time. So we really built our business plan on being community oriented, neighborhood focused, family, like the fact that it's family owned and operated. My wife's 2 sisters work for us. Our 2 stepbrothers work for us. My brother works for us. We have, half the team could be family, and it's not because they are family, but because they're all very talented people. Chef Morgan is an insanely talented chef in the back of the house, and our other sister Taylor, she does great front of house. We have wicked awesome people who cover a lot of gamuts for us. So the developer came along and he offered us a really sweetheart deal, and we really couldn't turn it down because we really didn't want to do a food truck. We'd been doing all our pizzas outdoors in that test kitchen space because of our wood fire oven that we had to use. So I've been cooking pizza outside for the better part of 10 years at this point, with all my pop-ups included,
Wow.
And I was like, I'm really good on the mobile pizza life at this point. I really like the brick and mortar, so I could go to one place every day that has air conditioning inside.
Yeah.
Having been outdoors for a long time, and the costs with trucks are just about equal with opening a restaurant, depending on what you want to do. So we signed the deal, and we got to sit down with an architect and kind of draw our space out. A lot of things we learned after the fact that we could have changed, but we still got a great space that we're really, really happy with. It's perfectly sized for what we do, and we've been there almost 3 years. We'll be 3 years in December this year.
Wow.
So that's been the journey has been a skyrocket from 2020 to 2025. We had kind of projected that we'd hit a brick and mortar space in 2028 was our goal. So the fact that we're 3 years into our spot by 2025 is we kind of crushed our projections. And we also really weren't sure the speed of things and the risks involved. So it's, to say the least, that like to be here, I've lost all the hair in the 5 years. That's why I'm bald right now.
Well, that's an incredible story. I love it. It sounds like the teamwork has been a big component of the success and just kind of like-minded people coming together towards a common goal.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. I did a lot of this stuff very early on by myself for a long time. A lot of my solo pops up were just humping a lot of this stuff around. And at a certain point, it's like, you can only do so much by yourself for so long before it becomes untenable and unscalable if you want to be a successful or operation of a certain size. And I was like, I need to be a pizzeria of a certain size in order to pay not only the bills, but pay some wages and eventually become solvent and all these things. So it's like when you start thinking on big scale business operations way, it's like without a team in place, you're not going to be able to do it unless you have some wildly savant like characteristics. But that doesn't really happen in this industry.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. So take me through your menu.
So we have a couple cool things going on. Part of going to the brick and mortar was that I really wanted to have a backline kitchen that did a couple of basics. We have smash burgers, salads, chicken wings, some chicken sandwiches, fries, and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then our pizza side menu is that we have two different things going on. So we have a big Neapolitan wood-fired oven that we got from Fiore Forni out of Italy. It's a beautiful thing.
Wow.
It's right in the middle of our restaurant. So you walk in, you see it first thing. There's a big marble bar right in front of it. And so we do all of our like wood-fired pies out of that. And they're Neapolitan style. I call them Yukon style at this point. It's gone through a lot of iterations over the years. And so I found our dough is in a really sweet spot that I find it really special, but it is a wood-fired dough. And so we have probably 12 to 14 pizzas on the menu, between like kind of like 5 classics and 6 or 7 specialties, maybe. Pretty focused and small, but we have some reds and whites, a couple vegetable ones. Every pizza on our menu for the wood fire, we can turn vegan or vegetarian.
Wow.
There's a 1-for-1 for everything almost in our restaurant. We have vegan burgers, vegan wings, all the salads can be made vegan. We just don't have vegan chicken yet, but otherwise, one of our big goals was to be as vegan and vegetarian friendly as possible. My wife's vegetarian. A lot of our staff are vegan. It behooves us to be forward thinking with our planet going the way it is, to be more like-minded with our planet and our environment, and offer as many options as possible. And these days especially, we're so lucky to have an incredible variety of vegan foods that make for great pizzas and not just a dough with a pile of vegetables on top. That was the biggest frustration for my wife for a long time, was that pizzeria's vegan version of a pizza was not really thought out. It was just kind of like, here's vegetables.
Yeah.
Right? And so we wanted to be like, hey, if you want a pepperoni pizza, you should be able to get a pepperoni pizza. It doesn't matter if you eat cheese or meat or not. And these days we have dozens of cheeses and dozens of meats to choose from that are vegan. So that's the main component of our pizza menu. And then we have a small deck oven that we do a New York slice window. So we have 20-inch pies that we make that we cut into slices. So we have 10-inch slices, just slices only. We don't have the capacity or the scale to do full pies out of that little deck oven. Mm-hmm. So we have, what's kind of great is that our lunchtime service is really fast, grab and go. We have sliced and soda specials and salad and soda specials and things like that. Mm-hmm. That are really fast, really easy, because we have a lot of law offices and city services offices and stuff around us that, people got 30-minute lunch, come and grab it and go. But what's great about our wood fire program is that our team is awesome and our pies are fast cooking. So even if you order a wood fire pie when it's slower to medium busy, it'll be less than 10 minutes for you to get that food, or even 5 minutes, depending on how fast the pizza maker is. We've designed it all to be really high quality, fast casual, but an environment that's really fun to hang out in. We've got a lot of stuff on the walls to look at, stories, the newspaper cooking. We have a really fun local beer selection, and then we're carrying all natural wines as well.
Wow.
So my wife and I are a really big fan of natural wine and kind of funkier, weird things. So we have a distributor who is all about that. She spoils us rotten by bringing all kinds of fun stuff that we get to sample and then put on our menu. And, we're really lucky that we kind of brag that we're one of the better natural wine bars in Las Vegas. If you come to see us, we'll have 4 or 5 at a time you can't really find anywhere else. And so that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to focus on a few specialty things. We have the smash burger and the great chicken wings. And these things make us focused, but very satisfying and reaches a lot of different palates. Some people come in, they're not feeling a pizza, but they can get a salad or a burger or whatever, vice versa. Parents come in with children, and children's minds change from the door to the when they get to the countertop. So sometimes it's like, oh, they wanted the slice, now they want a cheeseburger. It's easy for us to be like, hey, we've got both things and all kinds of options to make it as diverse but small and focused as possible. So that's the menu. I mean, it's pretty straightforward.
No, it's incredible because you guys are so unique because you have the sourdough, which not a lot of places can say. I don't know that I know of any that can say that they have the sourdough that has this history that you guys do. And then just catering to the vegan and vegetarian. These are just all things that really make you guys stand out.
Yeah, it's we're really lucky to have a unique spot. I think one other restaurant just outside of Seattle is Sourdough Willie's.
Okay.
He has a Alaska Yukon sourdough as well. His story is really cool as well.
Wow.
Will Grant is a really great guy, super nice. Definitely recommend talking to him. His story is just as good. And so when I came on to the pizza scene, as it were, 5 or 6 years ago,
Hmm.
Will kind of sought me out. He's like, "Hey, you're one of the few other sourdoughs in the country that has a history like we do. So like
Yeah.
that's special. Let's talk about it." And so he really brought me to the fold right away, and that was a sign that the pizza community is amazing, and we're so lucky to have people who embrace such outsiders and knuckleheads like myself that come in kind of out of nowhere. But we really wanted to share our sourdough. We wanted to share our story and share like something that we grew up with for so long, thinking it was so normal, like sourdough biscuits and sourdough pancakes and sourdough this and that, like all my childhood until you get out into the world. You're like, man, I really miss having like a nice bread at home. Now I'm
Yeah.
able to kind of bring that back out, not only for my family, but also for the community in our neighborhood.
Yeah, absolutely. I started on sourdough probably 4 or 5 years ago, and I got a starter from a New York bakery, and it was very similar. Like I was making bread every single week. We had bread all week, and I would give it to my family. We were doing pancakes, biscuits. I was doing galettes. I was making pizzas, like all different things. And sourdough is so awesome.
And it's the sourdough obsession craze was really fun because the first probably 2 years I was getting the most texts I've ever gotten from friends and family like, how do I do this? How do I do that?
Yeah.
And becoming like a little bit, the sourdough technician. It was really fun because then you got to see pictures of people's like successes and failures and all the learning, and then like all the like, what do I do with all this bread? And it's that yeah, it's really really fun to have something special and keep that thing alive. And then what's great if it's a sourdough. Once you get a starter going, it's very sturdy.
Yeah.
I think people don't give it as much credit as they do because I think people throw their starters away too soon. A
Well,
lot of people are
yeah.
like, oh, I threw my starter away. I think it went bad. A lot of times it can be brought back from where it's gone to a lot of times. And that's what's kind of cool. If you stick it in the back of your fridge and you forget about it for a year, I promise you could probably bring it back in a way. I mean,
Yeah.
I've done it with some friends before. I brought back pizzas when they've completely forgot how to feed a startup. There's a lot of cool things to learn about it and share. We're trying to spread that story every time someone asks at the restaurant. We always try to talk about the greatness of sourdough. For us is taste and digestibility and the fun way to bake with it. It's a live living organism,
Yeah.
so there's a little bit of elemental magic every day where it's like I really hope that today it works again, but it always does. It's that surprising little bit of yeast and magic.
Yeah. It's so sustainable too. Like every day you have sourdough to make something.
Yeah, absolutely. There's you can a little bit of flour goes a long way, and you can always make something out.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's what I'm always like, I gotta feed the baby, feed the sourdough baby. That's awesome. So, can you tell me what pizza's meant to your family?
I mean, like my first pizza memory is of a pizza shop called John's Pizza Company in a little town called Tenasket, Washington,
Yeah,
and that was like a family friend of ours. And so like it was very much the Coca-Cola branded everything, red checker cloth, very
yeah,
stereotypical '90s pizzeria, but like in the smallest town in the world. And so that was my first introduction in memory of like pizza with mom and dad, my mom, my brother and sister, and like we'd go there for like soccer games and stuff. And there's that like very familial, very kind of nostalgic vibe of pizzas where people come together. And so as my family, we all grew up, and my brother and sister and I, we moved to different spots. My parents moved away in different spots. So like we are, different living zones, but when we come together, we're able to share something that my brother and my sister and my wife and I would, created this pizza. And now I've got a legacy I can carry on even further than just the sourdough that my great great grandpa kind of, just didn't know he was going to create and pass it down, but he did. And So to have that translate into a bigger thing than just my dad's like pancakes or biscuits, but having this whole business of pizza has been a really cool, shareable, very tying our family together thing across the states. My sister has her own business in Colorado, and my brother is with us here, and so it's fun to like texting with mom and dad, and here's what we're doing today. Here's the pies we got going on specials.
Yeah.
My mom is always like bummed that she lives 12 hours away and she can't be here as fast as she can to get a special, but when they do come visit, it makes that much more important. And it's awesome to be able to take them to the restaurant and sit them at the counter and just have them watch how busy it gets. Like that's the most pleasurable thing, is like to be able to share the magic of what we've grown and what we're doing, and not, pizzas for the people. I kind of reiterate it all the time with my team, is like, this is the people's food. It's just sauce and cheese and dough. Like we're not rocket surgeons. We're not doing anything special or hard. Like, let's feed some people and let's have some fun.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I was just at home, and my grandfather opened up our family's pizzeria back in 1960. Yeah, I'm still involved. I still do all the marketing and help my dad with it. He
Yeah.
owns it now, he runs it. But I was in the dining room just looking at everyone eating pizza and filming content. And it's like, it's so nostalgic to have your family build that. And then to be able to go home and see that and really be involved. And I'm similar. Like, I post for them almost every day that they're open. And it's like every day I just want to go there and eat pizza.
Yep. It's the best thing, like, that you get hungry from your own stuff. You get like, everyone asks, like, are you tired of your own food? I'm like, I'm eating it probably 6 days a week still.
Yeah, absolutely. So on any given day when you walk into your pizzeria, what kind of pizza are you having?
Honestly, most often I'm having a slice out of the window, because that's the last thing we bake off before we open up the shop. And
Hmm.
I really like a New York slice. I really love my wood fire dough. That's what I started with, but I ate a lot of those for a long time. And the slice program is relatively new in the history of Yukon. So it's usually just a cheese slice out of the window, fresh from the oven, like just
Yep.
crispy, nice and easy. But if I'm going home after work and I haven't eaten anything, we have a kale Caesar salad. That's
Mm.
so I like to do that. Yeah.
Yeah,
What
that's
about you? What's your
incredible.
favorite of your restaurant?
So as soon as I walk in to film content, they're taking pizza out and I'm doing video of them cutting it on the board. And then whatever they set on the side that's not being sold, I grab a plate and that's what I eat. Just the cheese right off the board. There's nothing like a fresh slice that just came out of the oven. And that is like, for my entire life, that's been my favorite thing to eat there.
You can't be beat. Like, it's the reason why, like, the cheese and the pepperoni are the number one. Like, every day we always look at the numbers. Like, yep, top two all the time. People love what they love, and I think there's something very simple, and it tickles the caveman brain, where it's just like the perfect balance of sauce, cheese, and dough makes it hits all the pleasure centers.
Yeah.
We always say nostalgia is a hell of a drug, but for like a cheese slice, it tastes just as, like, I designed my cheese slice to be after a bowling alley in Winnemucca, Nevada, that I went to in junior high school for a PE class.
Wow.
And that's the slice I modeled my pizza after. It's a very specific memory and a very specific taste, but I got it as close as I could, both in like size, say, like all the things. And I haven't, been back to this town in 20 years, but that's the how hard memories really stick with you with pizza or food. There's like that, man, you nail it. It really, really hits. So when we got that cheese slice down, it's like, yep, I can have that cheese slice.
Sure, that's absolutely right. And when your pizza's good when people come back and they have that cheese or that pepperoni pizza over and over and over again. Like that's when like your pizza's solid, it's legit, people love it.
It's the number one like indicator for happiness, is just having that repeat customer come back in. When we're very lucky that we have some customers who are like between 3 to 5 days a week, on a regular basis.
Wow.
It's just, we hit that spot of like convenience and affordability for a slice and a soda, and it's like, why not? We're so lucky to be right where we are. So very nice to have. We see some friends walk up, pull the slice, get everything ready, and it's, yeah, can't beat it.
All right, that's awesome. So what does the future look like for you guys?
Our goal is to really solidify. We're in the very final stages of kind of like getting our management team in place at this Yukon Pizza 1, as we say now.
Mm-hmm.
So that my wife and brother and I can really focus on kind of working on spot number 2. That'll probably start happening in reality like next year and sometime. So the next 6
Wow.
months for us are like finalizing. We've just gotten to the point where we're going to get a GM in place, and then really let the thing kind of hopefully run itself more and more or less. we still work there like 4 or 5 days a week. You know, I'm more or less a dough maker because I love making my dough, so I try to pull dough shifts as often as I can.
Yeah.
You know, we do our time in the shop because we also love being there with our people and like doing prep and making pies. It's still a part of our business, and I don't want to kind of step away from that too much.
Yeah.
So we're trying to design it and build it so that we have, you know, 1 or 2 days a week on site with our people doing our thing, making pizza, doing dough, but also have the free time the rest of the week to start working on focusing on a second location. Just because it, after learning what we learned from spot number one, we know that the time and energy for spot number two is going to be pretty intense and focused. As far as the concept goes, that's really up in the air. We're kind of, it's the location will kind of help guide the concept at this point.
Mm-hmm.
It'll still be pizza. It'll still be a few things from the kitchen, but it really is a loose idea at this point. It'll be more where the location meets the space, kind of shows us. That'll help us choose the menu eventually, because we don't want to get into the wrong part of town and make a completely wrong food. It's just, we've seen too many places go to parts of Vegas that are just feel like dead zones that are really hard to get a business going. So we are very, as like we did with our previous stuff, we're slow boating our way, and we're kind of waiting for the opportunity to be right. So that's what's next for Yukon, is to focus on getting a spot to keep going, but when the time and the space is right.
That's awesome. Well, I definitely wish you the best of luck. And if someone's looking for you guys, where can they find you?
So we are in Yukon Pizza. We're in Las Vegas, Nevada, which is we're on the intersection of Maryland and Charleston. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us on Facebook. And we have a really great social media presence. I'm the social media guy. Because of our previous life in the business of making movies and TV shows, I get to be the guy who makes all the movies and TVs for the pizza.
Yep. I understand that.
Yeah, you know how it is. Like once someone finds that you can hold the camera, they're like, all right, you're the camera person.
Yeah, that's what's made our kind of like, or my move into this a little bit easy, is we have marketing companies, we have video production companies. So we're like, oh, we need to film video. We already have all the equipment. We already have everything we need for it.
It's definitely a trap you can fall into sometimes, but these days I luckily have the time, and I really still love taking photos and doing video. Like shooting your own food is like the best thing in the world, because like you said, you just pull the thing off the side, you have a little snack, and then share the rest with everyone else. Like there's nothing you can't beat it.
Yeah, absolutely. So guys, go and follow them. It's at Yukon Pizza on Instagram. Alex, thank you so much for being on the podcast. I love the story. I love the history, and I really enjoyed talking with you.
Thank you so much. It was really fun to talk to you as well. Thank you so much again.